Okay, let's dive right into a really deep but honestly fascinating concept from Mahayana Buddhism, the Dharmakaya. Now, this is a term that really gets to the very heart of what it means to be awakened, and we're going to spend the next few minutes unpacking what it's all about. So to get us started, check out this quote from the Flower Garland Sutra. It immediately tells us that the Dharmakaya isn't something we can just define and put in a box. It's more like a profound mystery we get to explore together.
And this really brings us to this central question, doesn't it? When Siddhartha Gautama sat under that Bodhi tree and had his great awakening, what was it that actually woke up? I mean, was it just the man, Siddhartha, or was it something way more fundamental, something that connects every single one of us?
Well, Mahayana Buddhism has a name for what awakened, Dharmakaya. And right away, we see it's not a person, it's not a place, not even some kind of cosmic force. It's described as the unconditioned reality of, well, everything. It's something that just is, no beginning, no end. Now, if you're thinking, whoa, that sounds incredibly abstract, you are definitely not alone. The ancient texts themselves, like the Lotus Sutra, totally admit that this is a tough concept to get your head around. But don't worry, the point isn't to be confusing. It's actually to point us towards something that's beyond our usual everyday way of thinking. And we are going to unpack it step by step. So, our first stop is going to be looking at one of the biggest hurdles in even talking about Dharmakaya. And the problem isn't just the concept itself, it's the very language we try to pin it down with. Just take a look at this comparison. The original Sanskrit word, Dharmakaya, it holds all these different layers of meaning all at once. But the moment we try to translate it into English with a phrase like cosmic body or eternal Buddha, we kind of risk squishing it into these familiar Western boxes. We start thinking of a personal God or something that just lasts forever, and that's not quite what it is. Maybe the closest we can really get in English is the word suchness. It's a simple word, but it points to this idea of reality just as it is, before we slap all our thoughts and labels and judgments on top of it. It's kind of like saying, it is what it is. But even that, it's just a pointer. It's a limited tool for something that's ultimately beyond any words we have. So if words are tricky, how can we get an intuitive feel for it? Well, this analogy from our source material is actually super helpful. Think of Dharmakaya as being like water. On its own, water is formless, right? But it takes the shape of a glass or a riverbed or a cloud. In that same way, Dharmakaya is this formless essence that takes the shape of everything we experience, but its fundamental nature always remains the same.
Okay, so to go a little deeper, we need a couple of keys. The first key is a teaching called the Trikaya, which translates to the three bodies of the Buddha. And it is so important to see these not as separate things, but as three interconnected functions of one single reality.
See the flow here? It starts with Dharmakaya. That's the formless, pure potential. From there, we get Sambhogakaya, which is how we feel that reality. The joy, the connection, the love we experience. And finally, there's Nirmanakaya, and that's how that reality actually shows up in the world. It could be a teacher, a piece of music, or even just a mountain. This is how the formless becomes knowable to us. All right, let's move on to our second key. This is going to build an even deeper understanding of what we mean by reality. It comes from a Chinese master named Ji Yi, and it's called the Threefold Truth. This model is just brilliant because it describes our direct experience of life. So first, everything is empty, meaning it doesn't have a fixed, permanent, separate self. But second, even though things are empty, they still show up and they function in a meaningful way. That's provisional existence. Think about it. The words you're hearing right now, they're not permanent, but they're working, right? And third, the truth of the middle says that these two, emptiness and existence, they aren't separate. They are one single, unified reality. Okay, so we've got these powerful kind of philosophical frameworks, but let's ask the most important question. What does any of this have to do with you and me in our actual messy daily lives? It's time to bring this down from the abstract to our lived reality. The amazing thing is we actually experience these three bodies all the time. When you're meditating and you just notice your thoughts coming and going against this backdrop of vast open awareness, that's a little taste of Dharmakaya. Or when you feel a genuine connection doing something kind for someone, where that line between you and them just sort of softens, that's Sambhogakaya. And when a single, mindful breath makes you feel completely present and alive, that's Nirmanakaya. It's the sacred becoming real and tangible. And this non-dual view, it also totally transforms how we relate to our emotions. Thich Nhat Hanh explains this so beautifully here. Happiness and suffering, they are enemies. You can't have one without the other. They're two sides of the very same coin, both popping up from that same unified reality. I love this because it perfectly illustrates the path of awakening. It's not a straight line up, it's more like a spiral. You start with just an ordinary view of the world. Then, as you start to gain some insight, everything you thought you knew kind of dissolves. The old certainties just fall away. But with deep awakening, you come back to the ordinary world, you see it exactly as it is, but now you recognize it as this profound expression of a much deeper reality. The mountain is still a mountain, but wow, it's also so much more. So now, let's bring our little investigation to its conclusion. We've talked about the trouble with words. We've used our two keys, the Trikaya and the Threefold Truth. It's finally time to reveal the solution to our central mystery. And so we come back to it. Our main question, one last time. After all this explanation, what's the answer? What is the Dharmakaya? Well, here's the crucial point. The answer isn't a definition. Asking what is Dharmakaya is like asking what a dance is, separate from the act of dancing. You can't pull them apart. Dharmakaya isn't a thing out there to be known. It is the very activity, the unconditioned reality in which all of our knowing and feeling and being is happening. And this means it's not somewhere far away. It is right here, right now. That bird singing outside your window, the little ache in your knee, the taste of your morning tea, those things aren't separate from Dharmakaya. They are expressions of it. They are the very reality the Buddha woke up to. And this quote from Nichiren just reinforces that idea perfectly. It's not about trying to escape life's tough spots or cling desperately to the good times. It's about recognizing that both suffering and joy are just facts of life. They both arise from this one unified reality. They are both part of the dance. And maybe the most beautiful summary comes from these final lines. Awakening to Dharmakaya isn't about creating something new or getting somewhere else. It's just about the fog of our own concepts and confusion finally lifting, letting us see the incredible reality that was right here, present, all along. So we'll end with this final thought. We started out by framing Dharmakaya as this big mystery. But what if the whole point isn't to solve it like some kind of puzzle? What if the greatest mystery of all is simply this reality that we are invited to live in, to participate in, moment by moment by moment?